Hey everybody, it's Pastor Mel on this Sunday morning, and it's All Saints' Day. It's a day inviting us to remember our loved ones who have passed on and to tell the stories of how their lives have changed ours. This is surely one of the most bittersweet moments of death, a time of gathering in the living room or at the funeral home or around the graveside to tell stories about the soul who has gone on before us. Even in relationships that were strained or less than perfect, which, let's be honest, is basically every relationship, we know deep down that our lives would not be what they are without the people who have gone before us. We know we have been changed by our encounters with this individual, with the many who have impacted our lives in one way or another. It's like the song says from Wicked, the musical. Because I knew you, I have been changed for good. So wherever we encounter people, and for however long we are in proximity to them, their existence may have a profound effect on our own. And likewise, our presence can have an impact on their life, whether for good or for ill. During one of my grad school lectures on the hospitality of Christ, my professor, Dr. Richard Beck, said, "We're saved as individuals and into community." You see, our salvation story is not written in isolation. It's crafted in community with others. It's affected by our proximity to people who are following Jesus with their whole lives and inviting us to come and see. Our salvation is dependent on the influence of others, for better or for worse. Our spiritual formation is affected by and for others. We need each other. And yet, one of the greatest struggles of our human existence is loneliness, a craving for community. At our core, we desire to find safety and to encounter love in relationship with others. We desire to be known fully and embraced just as we are, loved fully and urged to become all that we were meant to be. This kind of intimate relationship is rare. It's really hard to come by. And it requires a mutuality, almost a covenantal sort of love, a covenantal friendship that commits to loyal and unconditional love. It's hard work, but it's work worth doing. You see, we find ourselves in long lines at grocery stores or sitting in a doctor's office or passing people on our walking path, and we can still feel deeply alone. Wherever we live, in an apartment complex or a residential neighborhood or maybe out in the country, we can see neighbors coming and going all the time. But doesn't there seem to be some sort of unspoken mutual agreement to not bother each other? I think our culture has harmed us by creating such isolation. We assume that minding our own business is best for everyone, so we pull into our driveway and close the garage door behind us and do our best to keep to ourselves. We may commit to a particular congregation and show up week after week to see the same faces again and again, but somehow there's still a void in our spirits. And now we find ourselves nearing month 9 of a pandemic, which just compounds our ongoing struggle with loneliness and our desperation for community. Of course, not every grocery store encounter will result in a lasting communal sort of relationship, the type of intimate friendship I mentioned. But nevertheless, even these mundane encounters with another human being, they can have a mutual effect on our lives that could potentially heap a pile of God's love on one another, if just for a second. You see, when God created humankind in his image, he knew it wasn't good for us to be alone. It was important that we have companionship and partnership in life. And this isn't just talking about marriage, it's talking about people in community together. God's very nature, the Trinity, the divine partnership between Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is communal. Once we believe with all of our being that community is a requirement for our wholeness, for our healing and wholeness that Jesus offers us, we need to take it a step further and take responsibility for that. We can't wait around for someone else to take the initiative and invite us in. Let's not delay in engaging the people around us. Let's not wait for our neighbor to talk to us first, or for the cashier to engage in a genuine conversation, or for that couple at church to make the first move. Let's channel our inner child and strike up a conversation out of nowhere, a friendship with a stranger. Take a note from my oldest daughter's pre-COVID habit of saying, "Mom, look, my new friend is here," every time a new kid shows up on the playground. All this talk about community, friends, and the importance of our stories in conjunction with others, it's for this reason that I find such life-giving and anchoring practices in the lectionary, in the liturgical year, and in Holy Communion. You see, in all these practices, I'm reminded that I'm not alone. My faith isn't just mine. I'm practicing my faith and saying my prayers and reading these scriptures in conjunction with hundreds of others all over the world on this very day and for decades and centuries before me. When we observe a day like All Saints' Day, we are encountering the great cloud of witnesses who have gone before us, and those with whom we will join in singing, "Salvation belongs to our God, who is seated on the throne, and to the Lamb." Imagine with me for a moment our joining this everlasting gathering of people who know one another and love one another with the love of God, a community of safety and belonging through Jesus Christ, our risen Lord. As we read in Revelation 7, "After this I looked, and there was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne, before the Lamb, robed in white, with palm branches in hands. They were all before the throne and worshiping God day and night within his temple. And the one who is seated on the throne will shelter them. They will hunger no more and thirst no more. The sun will not strike them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb at the center of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to springs of the water of life, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes." We need each other. So let's continue the good work that the saints who have gone before us began, and for the sake of the saints who will come long after us, let's be bold. Let's remember that there are souls at stake. Go in peace.